Hello and welcome to this beginner's tutorial on IntelliJ IDEA, and today we are going to learn how to use and set up TestNg on IntelliJ IDEA, and this is going to be very easy and very interesting. And do not worry if you have never worked with IntelliJ or TestNg earlier. I will go very basic step by step, and we are going to learn how to add the TestNg plugin on IntelliJ, how to add the TestNg library, and we are going to see this both on a Java and a Maven project. I will then show you how to create and run TestNg tests. We will also learn how to create the run configurations for TestNg, and then we will see how to create TestNg reports, and finally I will show you a very easy and interesting way to create TestNg.xml file. So with this, let's get started and let us see. Our step number one is we have to open IntelliJ IDEA. So you can go to your IntelliJ IDEA, and you can follow this on Windows or Mac operating system. As of now I am on Windows system, and here let me first create a project. So go to projects and create a new project, and let me first create a Java project. I will also show you how to do it on a Maven project. So I will say next. I do not want any template. I will say next, and here I will give the name. I will say TestNg demo 1. I will just say underscore Java, so I know this is a Java project, and that's it. And this is where it will be stored. Let me change the location. I want this to be stored under IntelliJ projects. That's it, and I will say finish, and this is the project created. So we have the project created. Step number 2 is now we will add the TestNg plugin, and most of the times it should already be available on your IntelliJ because it comes along with IntelliJ, but still we will check. So you can go to your file and go to settings. You can also go to settings directly from here. So you can go to settings from here as well, and here go to the plugins section, and in the plugins section you can see we have a marketplace from where we can search and install plugins, and then we have the installed plugins. These are the plugins which are already installed. So let me first search in the installed plugins. I will say TestNg, and you can see here we have the TestNg plugin already added and activated, so I do not need to add it again. Just in case you do not find it here, or in case it is not already added, you can add it, and if you do not find it here, you can always go to the marketplace and search for TestNg and then just install it from here. So we have already done step number 2, and now let us see step number 3 is we will add TestNg jar or Maven dependency. So this is a Java project, so we will add a TestNg jar, and I will show you how to add a Maven dependency later. So for that, go to your browser and search for, go to Maven repository. So we can get the jar from the Maven repository itself, and search for TestNg. Search TestNg and you will find this option TestNg from org.testng. Go here and you can take the latest stable version. It is 7.4.0 as of now, and here, so this part we use for Maven, but now for Java project I just need to get the jar file. So just click on this jar file and this will get downloaded, and once it is downloaded, you can see it is downloaded in my downloads folder. So it is here, and now I will add it to my IntelliJ, and for that I will go to my IntelliJ, and if you go to file, you will see a option project structure. You can also see this from here, project structure, and here go to modules and go to dependencies, and here you will see we have all these options here. I will add a new dependency or a new jar, so click on add here, and I will say jar or directories, and now I will search for my jar. So it is in my downloads folder. I will go to my downloads folder and let me search for the jar file. So it is here. I will select and say OK, and I will check this, and the scope I will just keep it compile, and apply and OK, and that's it. So that's it, and you can now also go to the external libraries and you can see the TestNg jar file is added. So now TestNg is available in our project, and now we can create tests for TestNg. So now I can create a class and test methods and use the TestNg annotations. So let me try that. I will go to my src folder, do a right click and create a new Java class. You can create a package first and then create a class. I am directly creating a class here. I will say, I'll just say the name is test cases, and that's it. It has created a class, and now I will create some test case. So let us say I will create a test for setup. So I will name the method as setup, and that's it. And I will print here, I will say s out, and if I click enter, it has auto completed the system.out.println statement, and here I will just say I am inside setup. Similarly, I will create a method for actual test steps, and these are just dummy methods as of now I am creating so that I can show you. Again, I will say s out, and I will say I am inside test steps, and then I will create a method void, let us say a tear down method, and I will say s out, and I will say I am inside tear down, so that when these methods run, this will get printed and I will know that these steps have executed. So let me just save everything, and now I will use the TestNg annotation. So I will say add, and I will say test, and you can see I'm getting this option that do you want to get or import this from org.testng.annotations, and this is because I have added the TestNg jar in my project. So I will just click this, so it will also import the org.testng.annotations test, and similarly I will add the annotation over this method and over this method as well. And that's it. So we have created our TestNg tests, and you can also see we are getting this run button here that says if I go here it will run this particular test, if I click here this will run this particular test, that is test steps, and if I click here it will run this particular test, that is tear down. And if I want to run all the test cases, I can just click on this class and say run test. And also if I do a right click here, you can see I am getting the run test or run test cases option, and if I do a right click here, I am getting the option here as well. So let me just go here and click run test cases, which is the class, and I will click here and let us see the output. So this will set up the project, build the project, and then run. And some issue here, let me check what does it say. It says it could not find this jcommander class, and let me check this. I may have to add a jar for this as well. And you can see this is the advantage if we are using a Maven project. All these dependencies, extra dependencies are taken care of by Maven, but because this is a Java, I will have to manually get this jar. So let me go back to my Maven repository, and also let me also search for jcommander, and yes, this is the one. And I will again get the latest version and get the jar file, and then on my IntelliJ I will go to the project structure and go to modules, dependencies, and add a jar. I will navigate and browse to my downloads folder, and I have my jcommander jar here. I will say OK and check this, and OK, and should be fine now. Let me try running this again and let us see the output this time. So this is now running, and yes, you can see this is now running and I am getting all this. I am inside setup, tear down, test steps, and you can see all this is running fine. And if you see the output, you can see here it is first running I am inside setup, then it is running tear down, and then it is running test steps. Just in case if you want to set the priority, you can say here, or you can just say here, this is the annotation I will have to say here. I'll say priority equals 1, and similarly this will be priority equals 2, and then this should be executed at the end. So if you do not give the priority, it will execute as per the alphabetic order, and I will say this is 3. That's it, and let me run again and check. So I will run this from here, and this time you can see this is now running fine. First setup, then test steps, and then tear down. So this is now running fine. Let me also show you, I will show you the Maven project, but before that let me also show you, if you want to run as a TestNg test, for that you will have to add the configurations. And for that, so you can see if I do a right click, I'm just getting the options of running this class and not getting an option to run as TestNg. And for that I will have to go to the run menu and go to edit configurations, and you can see we have TestNg here. So here I will click TestNg and create a new configuration. So I will say TestNg and new configuration, and I will say run as TestNg tests or run as TestNg. And if I want to run a class, so I can select what kind you want to run. If I want to run a class, I will search for the class which is test cases, and that's it. And I will say apply and OK. And now if I do a right click, you can see I'm getting an option run as TestNg. So if I now run, it will run as a TestNg, and this is made possible by the TestNg plugin which is added in our IntelliJ. Now if I again go to the run configurations and go back to edit configuration, and this is what we are using. If I go here, go to the listeners of this configuration that we are using. So here you can see I can add a listener, and I can say here if I want to add some reporter, so emailable reporter is what I want to add. I can add it here, and I can also use default reporters as well. And if I want, I can select a output directory where the TestNg reports will go, and if I do not do that, it will create a directory here itself, a target output folder, and our reports will go there. So let me just apply and OK, and I will again now run as TestNg. I will say run as TestNg, and let us see now what happens. So it is running, and you can see it has now created a test output, and you will see the emailable reports here, and you can see all these reports. Let me again go to the run configurations and edit configuration, and here in the listeners, let me just remove this, and I only have the default reporters. Apply and OK, and I will run this again as TestNg. So I'll go here, I will say run as TestNg, and it is now executing, and you can now see this is the test output, and we are getting all these reports here. So index.html emailable report. Let me go to this output folder. So I will say find in files, and I will copy the location, go to my folder, and go to this folder on my system, and you can see this is the emailable report, and you can see all these reports here. So we get the number of passed, failed, time taken, all the details here. And then I can also go and check the this is the HTML, and if I go here we can also see the index.html, and you can see all the passed, failed, skipped, etc. All these options are here. So this is made possible by the TestNg plugin that we have on our IntelliJ. So we have seen this. Let us first see, before we move further, let us see how we can add our TestNg dependency on a Maven project. So for that, I will close this. I will close this project and I will create a new project. And this time I'm going to select Maven and I will skip the archetype. I will say next, and I will say this is TestNg demo, and I will say underscore Maven, and here this is all fine. I will say this is version 1.0 and finish. So this is now a Maven project, and you can see this is our Maven. If I click here, it will show us all the details. This is our Maven project, and you can see the lifecycle and plugins, and this is our pom.xml file. And here first I have to add the dependency for TestNg, and for that I can go to code and generate, or I can press alt plus insert on Windows, and here I will say dependency and I will search for TestNg, and I will take this from org.testng, this one. You can also compare it from the Maven repository if you want to. So if I go to the Maven repository and if I search for TestNg and go to TestNg from org.testng, you can see this is the latest one, 7.4.0, and that is exactly what we are getting here. So I will get this, I will say add, and this is added, and I will save my project, and now I should see it here. If I refresh on the Maven, you can see the dependency, and I have the TestNg dependency, and also this should be available in my external libraries as well. So you will find it here as well. So you can see the TestNg is here, and you can see it has also taken the jcommander dependency, which was creating an error when we were doing it as a Java project. So this is the advantage of Maven. It will take care of all the dependencies and everything that it needs. All the requirements will be taken care by Maven. So now I can again create a class here. I will go to my tests folder and create a class, and I will say test cases, and here I can again create any test case. So I will say void test1, and I will say sout, I am inside test1, and then I will have to add the annotation for TestNg, and you can see it is coming from org.testng.annotations, and that's it. I can save and I can now run this. I will say run test cases, and let us see the output. So it will build the project and then run the test case, and yes, you can see it is running fine. I am inside test1, and of course, as we have done earlier, I can say run, and I can say edit configurations, and here I can say this is what I need. I will go to listeners and I will say use default reporters. Okay, and now I can also run as a TestNg. So I can run this test case. Let me go and give some name, a different name here. So I will say this is run as TestNg, apply and OK, and now I should be getting run as TestNg, and now I will also be getting the output and the reports here. So you can see the test output and we are getting all the reports here. Now very important thing, if you are working with TestNg on a later stage, later stage, you will need the TestNg.xml, and for that you can go to your plugins again. So you can go to your settings and go to plugins, and here you will search for a plugin called Create TestNg XML. So if you search for Create TestNg XML, you can see this is the plugin. You can install it. In my case, it is already installed. So I will go to the installed and search for this, and I will activate this and say apply and OK. And then once this is done, if you go to your Maven project or a TestNg project and do a right click, you will find an option here. So you can see an option here, Create TestNg XML. So let me show you again. If I do a right click on my project, I'm getting this option here, Create TestNg XML. So just click this one and you can say OK. It will create a testng.xml file on your project. So you can see, you can go to your project folder. So I will say find in files, and this is my project folder. I will copy and go manually to this folder on my system. Let me go from here, and you can see the testng.xml file is here. So you can create a testng.xml file like this, and just to know what exactly is testng.xml file and what are its advantages, how you can use it, you can go on my website, that is automationstepbystep.com, and if you go to the Selenium Java framework tutorials, it will take you to my YouTube playlist on Selenium Java framework, and here you will find the videos about testng.xml. Let me search testng.xml. So you can see what is testng.xml. You can watch this video, and then you can find some other videos on this as well. So you can see all the options, what are the options for testng.xml, how to use it, everything you will find in this video. So this is how you can set up and use TestNg on IntelliJ. So this was the complete tutorial for TestNg on IntelliJ. I hope this was very useful for you. Please do some hands-on, and if you have any questions or any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below. And you can also take a quiz on my website automationstepbystep.com, and I will see you in the next session. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.